All right, so we are recording now. So as I told you guys all last week, all right. As I told you all last week, Amy is really passionate about journalistic design, and you know, as I said last week, you know, those of you who do not have journalism backgrounds, you know, we kind of threw you into page design, and I mean, you guys do an amazing job. We're not trying to say that, but like what we talked about a number of weeks ago with Alicia here, our focus over the course of this next year is to really start honing our skills and really taking pride in our work, really focusing on making sure that we're accurate, that we're doing really good design work, that we're doing really good newspaper design work. You know, this is the medium that we're working in. So, Amy volunteered to do a little talk about modular design, which is something that we've seen some people struggling with, and let's see. I'm sorry, Cole just posted a number here, so Cole, are you able to hear through the computer? We'll get this taken care of quickly, and then we'll get back on track here.
I'm going to close this because I'm going to be vacuuming.
Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, so we'll just use the computer, not the phone line. I will update that phone number. That was a surprise to me as well today that the phone number had changed for a conference call. So, Amy, do you want to kind of drive here, or do you want me to, and you just talk, or okay?
Yeah, you can drive it.
All right. So,
Drive
let's
fast enough.
yeah. All right, we'll share here. All right, so which one did you want first, Amy?
Do you wanna do the obits colors wrong?
Yeah. Okay. Oops. Do you want me to zoom in?
That's fine, or how you had it before. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Do I talk to the here?
The
Don't know.
camera up on the
Okay.
computer actually picks us up. I went ahead and hung up the phone.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just downsize this just a smidge so that we can see if anybody.
Ask questions. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And then if I can get the window, if I can get a hold of the window.
Oh yeah. Can you grab it, pull it down, or minimize it?
Yeah, I made it bigger.
Oh, that made. Oh, you do the minimize, and then the edge comes over on this side a little bit, or do the like yeah, it'll make it bigger, but then you have a little edge right there.
Super wide.
Yeah.
Oh God! Oh,
Have you done this before?
well, no kidding. A rookie.
Sorry guys.
Totally. All right, sorry about that, guys. Good golly. Yeah, like we said here, it's like I've never done this before. All right, sharing the screen as soon as it'll let me. There we go. All right. Okay, go ahead, Annie.
Okay, so, yeah, like Erin said, I'm all about the journalism in the newspapers and modular design and stuff. And I guess the way I look at it is that modular design is really like the basic building blocks of newspaper design. And I know there's definitely people who know this that have been doing design for a long time, and they know this. But I think some people that don't have a lot of experience or came from different departments might not know it, so that's why we're doing this. So basically modular design is you want to make sure everything is squared off in boxes. It's easier to read for the reader. It's cleaner on the page. It's just really less confusing for everybody, and that's the goal. One of the goals of good newspaper design is to make sure that it's easy for the readers to read and understand, and also keeps their attention. So I just sort of threw together a couple of example pages, and I just grabbed some random stories and some random obits, which I sort of feel weird about now, but anyway, so and I just threw this stuff together, and I put colored boxes around the two stories on the page, so you can kind of get an idea of how sort of awkward they look when you lay them out this way. The bottom story has that dog leg, a big dog leg on it's the left column, and I don't know if everybody doesn't know what a dog leg is. It's basically when you have one long column of text you're wrapping around a story, or not a story, I'm sorry, an ad or a piece of art. You have just like one long column, and then it jumps back up to like little short ones. And that's just not appealing to the eye really, and it's also, it's for readers sometimes, it's just can be confusing, to be honest. So that's something that you want to avoid. And then if you go up top, another thing is, like, I completely understand we have weird space, especially on obit pages and stuff.
And I think it's going to become even more challenging with the PDF system that we're moving to with Modulist. But
right. And so don't get me wrong, I completely understand sometimes you have to do what you have to do to make it work and get your stuff in. But this is also sort of like an awkward layout because you're wrapping around, you're going like across and then down and then up and across again. And it's just sort of awkward on the page, I guess. Yeah. So if you want to look at
zoom out so you can kind of see
yeah.
that.
And obviously too, there's a lot of other things wrong on that page. Like I would never split the stories, and you want to keep the obits together if possible. But I'm just, it's
and
more
you have duplicated obits. That's
oh yeah, that's too. Yeah, that's I just copied and pasted. So ignore
yes.
that stuff.
No.
But it's basically, I just basically wanted to show a couple of different shapes that were not necessarily good to the eye. I guess really good to the eye to read, and maybe shapes that you want to try to avoid because they're not really modular. They're very like.
And when we're talking about modular, really it means rectangles.
Yeah, boxes.
So you see here that it is not a rectangle. I don't know what that would be. What
makes me think of like
would be.
Tetris shape.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and we've got an L shape here. You know, sometimes when you're going around ad stacks, they can be pretty unforgiving, and so this is something that you may not be able to avoid.
Right, there's definitely situations.
The L's don't bother me as much as something like this, honestly. So that's what we're talking about here. So
yes, if you want to just click on the open page, I'll just grab. And now this page actually is not like showing how I corrected that page. This is just showing a page. It's the same stories and the same obits and stuff, but it's just showing a page that's laid out in a modular way with your stories and your obits. And you can see, I don't know why I put a colored box on the desks, but you can ignore the yellow box. But you can see the green is squared off, the red is squared off, and then you have a briefs package that's squared off. And that is really your goal, especially with inside pages, is where you're gonna obviously encounter this because that's where the ads are. And I realize that, you know, a lot of times we just try to get those inside pages done and out, but you know, it's you want your inside pages to look good, just like you want your cover to look good. And when your whole paper looks good, people notice that. They also notice when your cover looks great, but your inside is a hot mess. So, and yeah, so basically, lost my train of thought. Yeah, just you want to, and some tips that like for what I do, like if you could click on like, yeah.
Yep.
So this is another example. It's just pink because the fonts don't work.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have a chance to try and load the fonts. I don't know why this computer doesn't have all of our fonts on it, so.
Yeah,
there we
if you
go.
could just zoom kind of out to show the whole page. I just put a big fat filler ad, but I'm sure every one of us has encountered a page like this, with this sort of filler, or this sort of ad on it, and the budget will give you like, because you know, the editors are looking, sometimes they're not necessarily looking at the dummies, but they're looking at just the inch space or whatever, and so they just give you one story for it, and you're like, and this is, you know,
Vertical board.
yeah, exactly. I mean, this is what you end up with is, well, I've got this space, I've got one story. A lot of times, but yeah, this is like a really bad example of a dog leg. But we've all been there and I've done it myself. One thing I suggest, I guess, is a lot of times what I'll do is, to me, this would look a lot better if, you know, you could keep the hazardous waste story to the column and then maybe put a briefs package across the top because that's the smallest amount of space. Like you would put household hazard down, all the way down to the bottom, the left column.
Yep, all down the rail.
And then across the 5 remaining columns, you'd have a little briefs package. That would be ideal. What I would do is, and I do this a lot with papers that I do, and is, yeah, I guess
Did you have, oh, okay.
yeah,
You've
or
got
another
kind of a-
story, but
Yep.
you know, talk to your editor or whomever you're working with and ask. A lot of, like, I've done this a lot of times when I know the content they give me based on the ads on the page is just not going to work and it's going to look bad. I will ask them. I'll be like, okay, you gave me this one story. There's a huge ad stack. I'm going to end up with a giant dog leg. Are you okay with that? Or sometimes I'll make a JPEG and I'll post it in the room and just talk to them, just communicate with them, and I'll say, this is what it looks like with just the one story. You know, are you okay with that? Is there maybe something else you can give me? Like, do you have any briefs you need to get in that I can, you know, put across the top and we can whatever? And a lot, like, every once in a while, yeah, they definitely be like, I'm fine with it. Don't worry about it. That's their decision, so you go with it. A lot of times they aren't aware necessarily that that's what is going to end up because of the ad stack. So they totally are like, oh no, let's try to avoid that. Let me find you something.
Yeah.
That's been my experience. So I would just really encourage you to talk to your editors and stuff when you encounter something like this, because I'm sure
Yeah,
they don't necessarily
these
want that in
types
their
of
paper
pages,
either.
yeah, these types of pages are great for briefs packages,
Yes.
especially if you can, you know, sometimes you can get them to break correctly so that you wouldn't actually have to have one brief that jumps from the bottom of that
Right,
column.
yeah,
So
you can
if you
break
had
it.
one huge briefs package for a page like this, what I would try to do is rearrange those briefs so that at least it would break, so that you've got a fresh brief starting at the top of that second column,
Yeah.
so that you're not making the reader jump.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big thing of this too, is not making the reader's eyes jump around the page. You want
Right.
it to have a smooth flow throughout the page. It's something that I see even, like, I was always taught that you should have a headline near the beginning of your story. So usually if I've got a big chunky headline, that's, you know, that if I was placing it on the photo, it's a big 6-column photo, I've got a headline embedded in it, then I'll put that drop head down just above the start of the story so that if the reader is not looking at that main headline, that they have some idea of what in heaven's name is going on before they start that main story. So
Yeah, no, yeah, that's absolutely, that reminds me of another example, like with, if you have like a big CP, you've got your 6-column art, and, you know, you're gonna put your headline on your art, but, you know, your story is starting you're starting the story on your left side, the left side of your page, but say the space on your art that's open where you wanna place the headline is on the right. So you wanna not do that, because then you have, you know, your reader is going, they're going to the right, they see the headline, and then they have to go back to the left to see the drop head or the start of the story. And that's weird because people naturally go, you read left to right. People naturally go down the page looking at things from left to right. So, yeah, that's just another example of keeping things, just sometimes it's good to just keep it simple and clean. And that's the best way to really start building a page. And you know, I think once you get that modular, square, simple, clean design down, then you can start breaking the rules on certain things, and then you can build from that and start doing a little more outside the box things, and you can do it, and it's easier because you know the basics. So that's, I guess I don't know anything.
Does anybody have any questions, either here in the room or on the line, online here? Anybody?
And if anybody like has questions later,
Yep.
like, or anything, you can totally email me or message me on Slack if I'm working. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
One example,
Yeah.
quick, is if you're looking for like an example of a newspaper that does, I think, really good modular design, is the Star Tribune. It does really great. Even if you look at their front page, it's pretty similar on a daily basis, but it's always so clean and neat. And you look at their inside pages; they're all very modular. So that's a good example if you're looking for an actual, like, on the paper, physical print example.
And I suspect most of us have access to the print product of Star Tribune in most of our newsrooms, so seek those out.
Yeah, their design is amazing.
Well, and it's not a super flashy design.
Right,
I
exactly.
don't feel
Yeah.
like, but
It's very
it's
easy to
just
read.
Yes,
it's
it's very
clean, it's really readable, and you know, and that's I think sometimes we get really caught up in flashy designs or cutouts or fades and things like that, and sometimes it takes away from the readability of our papers. So,
Yeah.
you know, really try to focus on that clean modular design as you start out, and then, as Amy said, then you kind of learn where you can break the rules, where you can push the boundaries and things like that. You know, and even like for me, I have a very hard time with like a front page that has a big main story or big main photo, and then the story that goes with that photo is only in 1 or 2 columns. And I know that's a legit design, and a lot of papers around the country do it, but I have a hard time.
The forum used to really do that.
Forum
That
did
was, like,
a lot of
basic
that, and
forum
that
design.
like is really hard for me to look at. But you know, that doesn't mean that it's like, I think that's pushing the boundaries. It's not necessarily breaking rules. But you know, again, you kind of need to know where you can do that and where you can play things like that. And I think you do it sparingly.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think some of these things, break the rules once in a while, but make it once in a while. Make it like have a good reason that you're breaking the rules. You know, don't just do it because you can. You know, it's kind of like colored headlines. Just because we got colors does not mean that we should use them all the time. We had a designer when I first started here at the forum who he did features pages with me, and he loved cyan headlines.
Oh jeez.
And straight cyan, like no other color in it. It was just a straight cyan, and he like that was his like style thing, you know. But you know, just because you can do it,
It doesn't mean it's not.
Yeah.
Sure.
right? Yep. So
And
just
one thing to remind yourself, and I have had to remind myself this many times when I get caught up in trying to design something crazy or trying to do something crazy, I have to remind myself that I'm not designing for other designers. I'm designing for readers. And so they don't honestly, generally, they're not going to care how fancy it is. They're going to care if they're like, what is happening, and I don't understand where this story starts. And
right.
or
if
it's
we've got
confusing.
Yep,
Yeah,
if we've
so
got text on a colored background and they
I
can't read it,
Yeah.
it's
So
pointless.
that's just, and I still to this day sometimes have to remind myself, I'm not designing for designers, I'm designing for
I
readers.
think that's a really
And-
good reminder.
And like Erin said, when you're breaking the rules, break them sparingly. Here's the thing, if you go balls to the wall every day, people are gonna get used to that. If you do it sparingly when it's necessary or when the story, the subject matter warrants it, that's gonna make an impact. So if you get crazy every day, you're losing the impact that you have on the reader. But you do it sparingly. When you do it, it makes a big impact. It makes a big deal. So yeah, okay, I'm done now.
Excellent. Well, nice work. Thank you, Amy.
Welcome.
Okay, so I'm going to talk just a little bit more about Modulist. I promised you guys that I'd talk a little bit about it last week, and so I got everything set up. So one big thing is, as I was, you know, trying to load the script on this computer here in the conference room and doing a terrible job of it while we were having our last meeting with the managers. Erin Vasika said, "Oh, do you want that script pushed out to everybody? Because nobody said we were using it yet." I'm like, yeah, we've been using it, and that would be awesome if you just push it out. So Erin will push out the Modulist script, so we don't all have to load it separately on our own. So that will cut down on one major step for us. So I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to screen share for you. So when we're getting, if you guys are looking at your paid obits emails, recently we are getting, especially if you're looking at the FCC one here, which is our big list at night, as you have undoubtedly noticed this big note in red, it gives you a little rundown of how to use the Modulist script. So what I want you guys all to get in the habit of doing is copying and pasting your numbers for the day, paste it off to the side of your page so that it's easy for you to do your counts, especially while we're doing this switch over where we're getting half of our obits from the layout team, some of them from Modulist. Having that number right there is going to be key for you guys and for the copy editors. So get in the habit of pasting that off to the side. So what you need to do is click on that link that they've given us. Right now it's just taking us to the forum obituaries. As we begin to get more and more properties on board, we're going to have, all of the other properties will have their own manifests here. So I'm going to go back into the forum since they have some announcements. As you see, these are all separate, and with milestones, in fact, there will be separate folders for each type of milestone. There will be anniversaries, engagements. You will need to download those all separately. So for obits, we've got, this is yesterday's, so we're gonna download these. These do not need to be in a network folder. They can just be, you know what? Maybe they do. Darn, Sarah's not here. I'm trying to think if it's actually linking back. I don't think it's actually linking back to here, to your download. So this is really the manifest, and then it actually, the links on the page will be going back to where the PDFs are actually on the server. So I think we're just fine putting it in your downloads. Pull down the obits as well. All right, then you're gonna go to your page and go into your scripts and just hit that Modulist add placement. And you're going to go to the file that you need, or I don't know if I can do both of, nope, you're gonna do one at a time. Okay, so it's telling us that 4 ads were placed. And in this aspect, you may want to go back to that that note here. We've got 4 death notices and 2 paid obits through Modulist. So you want to make sure that you've got the correct number there. Let's go back to the page. So as I mentioned last week, these all just get stacked up over the top of each other. So they're all placed in that one corner of the page here.
Oh, they're like, is that normal that they like sit on top of each other? Like,
Yes, they're
okay.
always gonna sit right on top of each other,
Okay.
up in this, just off to the side of your page in the upper left-hand corner. Yep, so they'll always show up here. And then we're gonna do that script again and do the paid obits. And we've got 2 of those from Modulist. And those aren't placed very nicely, but, so that is how you would do it. Then you're gonna put your standing heads, if they were paid, political letters, for, you know, some of our properties, like Rivertown's group, they have the little tagline thing that goes under here that says paid content. You'll need to make sure you've got all of that kind of stuff. But like I said, I would, as soon as that, the nice thing is that as soon as that email is sent, we'll be able to place our own obits from Modulist. So we will not be waiting on layout to do it for us. So you're going to be able to get them on your page immediately once you see that notice. They are live. So, all right. So let me.
So production's not doing it anymore.
They are right now,
Okay.
because we're still getting them from both places.
Okay.
But as of this week, I believe, they're changing the links over for Fargo, and I think they're going to do it relatively quickly for all of the newspapers. We're going to be those links are going to go directly to Modulist very soon, so we're going to see more and more of these coming. So I know that Mark's been dealing with some business announcements already from Modulist. I know we've had a number of obits coming through for the past few weeks for the forum, but very soon we're going to see it at a lot of the other newspapers. So it's good for everybody to know how to deal with that.
So today I have the forum, so
Okay.
I'll be looking for the email that comes out that
Yep.
productions placed the obits, and then the other email.
Yep. Yep, and so then you'll go to that link in that email for the ones from Modulist.
Okay.
Yep, exactly. So Brandon, in situations where obits fill more than a page, are we going to have to copy and paste from obits from the pile to other pages? Yes, absolutely. Yep, you're gonna have to be moving them from the pages, because it will be just one pile. So that's why it's gonna be super important for us to have those numbers and make sure that we're double checking those numbers. And you may even want to, like I said, let me screen share again. In that email, you might even want to just grab this portion too, just for yourself, so you don't have to keep going back to your email. You know, grab this and paste it out off to the side of your page as well. So, yeah.
Question. Can we, I know this happens a lot really with the forum, especially for Sundays, there's like a ton of obits.
Yep, I
They're
know
always
that
on-
Brandon deals
Yeah.
with that for Duluth too.
Yeah, and
Yep.
there's, and like, yeah, you have them on multiple pages. I know we used to have in the forum news library before the hub, we had like a little, like a thing that said more obits on page.
Uh-huh.
You could just pull out and slap it on your page. Do we still do that, or
We do still do it.
could we get something
Yeah.
made in there
Uh-huh.
to have? Because I know I've done it on the rare occasion.
Yep.
Which doesn't happen very often. Like the papers I do, like for Brainerd or Bemidji, it does not happen very often. But
Yep.
I've just had to make up a little
Yeah,
thing.
I always just use the jump line.
Oh, okay. I
The,
suppose,
the
yeah.
jump to, and so then I'll just say more obits, and then I always label all of the pages. You know, like
Right,
sometimes
and
you end up with, especially Duluth and the forum, you end up with sometimes 4 or 5 pages and stuff, and the forum. God, there was one night I think I did it on like 7 pages or something, because they all had terrible ad stacks.
Oh yeah. and you're
Well,
just
no,
trying
it
to
was
make
just,
fit.
there were a number of obits, but then they had really awful ad stacks that that we had to work around. So it was like one of the, you know, the half dozen nights that I've worked in the last couple of years, and I ended up with that. But so I always, when I do have things like that, I take that jump to line from the library and then say more obits on pages 2, 3, 4, and even if it's a previous page, I'll
Yeah.
always have that page listed as well, so that so that people know where to look. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the junk one. It's fine. I
Yeah.
haven't even thought about that.
Yeah. So Brandon, did I answer your question? And does anybody else have questions about this? Like I said, we're gonna see more and more of them, and pretty quickly. I heard initially that we thought that we might be out doing this for everybody by like June-ish, but now I'm hearing that maybe it might be the end of May. So it's going to come quickly. So, Cindy, just an observation, but sometimes there are gaps between words in an obit, and I noticed that whoever sets uses double spaces between sentences. I think that's because we don't retype those obits. We take the customers for most of these announcements are placing that text in a file, and they get back a pretty immediate proof of the announcements, and so we really the obits team really does not touch those. It's my understanding, at least, other than looking, you know, if they find out later that there's a factual error or something like that. So if there is double spacing and things like that, that's what the customer is seeing, and that's really what they've paid for. So that's why they don't mess around with those things. So I know that makes our hearts twinge, you know, when we see that weird spacing or hyphenation and things like that. But yeah, and we may see, we're not going to be able to change any of that, you know, with everything coming in as PDFs. So we just have to kind of grin and bear it on those. So if we're seeing some really awful things, you know, I can talk with the Modulist team about it and see if there's anything that maybe they could run some sort of script or something to take out some of that double spacing. I don't know. So, let's see. I believe I heard you say that it'll be PDFs. So if we get emails with last minute obit goofs, will we have to re-download the whole bunch? From what I understand, Brandon, I believe that once we get those emails, they are done. There will not be really any wiggle room for the late corrections and things like that. Like, they will be published to the websites, and down for us. So if I will double check on that, but that was my understanding, that it's really pretty well locked in. I am going to log in. There was one more thing that I wanted to show you guys. Let me screen share one more time. So we're trying to get you guys set up. We're trying to just get one items or one address set up for us all, for the whole team. But this is my personal one that I got a week or two ago when they were doing a demo for me. But so you guys will be able to, I don't know that this is gonna be super handy for us, but it will be more for the editors. There are going to be reports that they can look at, because they used to get early reports of inch counts for obits and announcements and things like that, so that they could kind of get an idea of how many they were going to have before the actual deadline. So there is let me see if I can, yeah, I was testing this out earlier today. So, so let's look at like a peek at tomorrow's announcements for the forum. And we could do just, if we were just looking for obituaries or just death notices, we could, but we can also just do an all listings type. You do have to download it. And then, let's see if I can. So this is telling us, it's mushing them together. Yeah, it's weird. But I looked at this in a different program earlier, and I was able to see the breaks a little bit better. But so it is like, for tomorrow's announcements right now, there are 41.39 inches of announcements in the paid obits and death notices. So that's something that you could look at. There's also, let me see if I can find it. These are all, yeah, these, once the deadline has passed, these drop into the listings. So if, I don't see how it would be possible for our numbers to be off now with everything so automated, but if something was off, we could come into this listing and see the names, and I think we can, I thought there was a way to separate this by date as well. Maybe I'm wrong. right, I might need to get a little more information on this, but, so this at least would show us, the newest, items that have been approved. Once, like I said, that is only once the deadline has passed. So like the ones for tomorrow have not been approved, so we're not seeing any of the names for them. But this might be somewhere where you could go back and at least, you know, see who you might be missing. If you know, if you see, oh, well, this was approved yesterday and I have this many people, but I'm missing somebody, maybe you could go through those names. Like I said, I don't think that that's probably going to be much of an issue with more of this being automated, but it's another resource for you guys, I guess, so. All right, anything else? All right, anybody here in the room have questions about it? Kind of, I think it's one of those things, once you do it once or twice, it's not gonna be too tough. Angela, I'll help you make sure that you've got the script on for tonight. Oh,
yeah, I
you've
got it, yeah.
Okay, good. Excellent. So the rest of you, I would imagine, knowing Aaron Vasika, he's probably already pushed that script out, so the next time you guys restart, that it will likely be in your scripts panel. If not, I suspect tomorrow he'll have that loaded for everybody else, so you guys don't have to go digging around for it. But all the managers know how to load scripts and where to find, and it actually says in that email where to find the Modulist script. So, all right, let's look through just a couple of kudos quickly, and then I will get you guys on your way. So. Here we go. So this is one of Lauren's for the Alexandria Echo Press, and this is, she really made every portion of this. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Cole. Screen's clear so you guys can see it. All right. So this page is. Like I said, I just really like how each little portion here has something special going on with it. She made all the way down the page is just a good looking portion of the page. It wasn't just focusing on one chunk at the top. So
I like
nicely
the hand
done.
popping out.
Yeah, just
that one little detail, like
smidge there.
yeah.
So very nice. All right, and this is one of Paula's for Purim, and again a nice looking photo. We've got the arm of the bobcat going up into the flag there. We've got an older photo down here, and bringing art all the way down the page really helps draw your eye all the way down. So nicely done, Paula. This is one that Wayne did for Duluth for the taste page, and just a nice looking page. We've got lots of air here. It's really, this looks like a features page to me. You know, you generally wouldn't have quite that much air on a front page, but it's great on an inside page. And yes, who doesn't want a winterscape?
With
Eating tacos helps for sure.
Yes.
Yes. So nicely done, Wayne. This is one that Jackie did for the Grand Forks Herald, and I'm just going to zoom in because I wanted to see. So were these images? Did you just? I mean, did they give them to you looking like Polaroids, or did you create that look?
They didn't. So if anyone's interested, I can actually share that with you. It's actually an Adobe template. So if you have an Adobe license, they're free use.
Nice. So, nicely done. I like the look of that, especially, you know, when you get band photos sometimes, it's sometimes they are awful, sometimes they're super fun, sometimes they're really hard to figure out what is going on with them, you know, so I like this, and I really like how the colors, you know, of the faded Polaroid look here and this background really tie into these kind of muted tones in the photos. So I think that's really effective.
I like how the background fades
Yeah.
out
Yep.
to the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, that looks really good.
So, nicely done. All right, here's one for the forum. This is one that Lucas did. And let's see the whole thing. Not a long shot. Great photo and great play of that photo. And this is a really fun, let's see, I'm just reading the headline here now quickly. It was good enough for season best NCAA record, inches from his overall record. So,
I don't know if it's his, I think it is the overall record.
oh, wow, yeah.
Oh yeah, then.
Lucas, did you read? Yeah,
over-
it is.
Yeah, the NCAA overall record.
That's awesome. So, great, like I said, great play. I love the faded background so that we can really just focus in on him. So, well done. Let's see here. My my list is jumping around here. This is one that Marcy did for the West Central Tribune. I thought it was just a really striking page. She really played up this tight shot of the, I don't know if it's a flower or a weed, but with the monarch butterfly on it, and then tying in the colors of the headline into the purple of that plant there. Because really, when you're looking at these other photos, they're not super exciting. So she really did a nice job with this other image to play that up, to really bring the whole page together. So nicely done, Marcy. I'm going to try and get back to the beginning of this list. I don't know what's going on. Here is one from Megan DeHonick, and a sports page for the Herald. And you know, we've got a nice stripped story here, but then the centerpiece is a really nice package here, just with a little bit of fade around the edges, and this tall kid's head just popping into the headline, or the drop head a little bit. It really makes a nice package. And then our third story down at the bottom, just bringing your eye all the way down. Well done, Megan. This is one of Superior's for that Tim did, and a really fun CP package. You know, often we get these group shots after the game, but this is a fantastic shot, so I'm glad that he was able to still play that up. And using the colors of the teams, or the team's colors in the whole package, is a nice touch as well. So, well done. All right, I feel like I probably should stop there. We've kept you pretty long today, so I think we're gonna just end there. I'll hold on to those other pages for next week, and we'll let you get back to work. So thank you all. Thank you again, Amy. And yeah, oh, one quick thing, Cole will be here in Fargo on Friday visiting with his team members here. All of the managers are trying to get out to visit most of their team members. Some of you who are a bit far flung, they'll be doing just video chats with you, but again, tying into that, what Alicia talked about, that we want to find out what is hindering you guys from working efficiently, working well. So, so please bring your ideas to your team leaders as they visit with you.
Tomorrow Friday or like next Friday?
Tomorrow Friday.
Okay.
So I'm gonna send out an email. I've been meaning to all week. So there will be pizza here in Fargo for supper. So yes. So and then and I will be sending out an email very shortly with all of you who have won NDNA awards. There are quite a number of you who have won awards for Dickinson, Jamestown, Grand Forks, and the Forum. So congratulations to all of you. So, all right, that is it now. So thank you all.